Hey everybody, it's Krista from Magnolia Ridge Farm and Gardens, and it has been a hot minute since I have been here. So I've been noticeably absent, and there are many reasons for that, most of which are my fault, or my brain's fault. But you know, the garden, it was time to put the garden in. I've been spending a lot of time in the greenhouse and, you know, getting the garden beds amended, and market has started now. Not to mention, today I'm actually back at my friend's house. She had her second knee surgery, which, if you remember, I was here during the fall for her first one, and now I'm here for this week after her second one. So I'm at her beautiful house on her covered back porch, and it's sultry, and there's just a massive amount of humidity because we have storms rolling in. We've gotten 6 inches of rain just in the past like 4 days, and we've got more coming in the next few days. So it is just crazy humid here in North Carolina. But so I'm sitting out on her covered back porch right now, and I wanted to have a sit down with you because there's been a lot of changes. So on top of, you know, everything that I've had going on, I've still had my knee injury to deal with, and I put off, and it got worse, and then it got a little bit better, and then it got worse again. And I am happy to report I am seeing a surgeon tomorrow, and we're gonna go from there. So we'll see what is really going on, other than a torn LCL that's not healing. I may have worsened it, I don't know. But I have not actually been active on any social media, really. Like a Facebook post now and then, an Instagram post now and then, but I have been choosing to not watch YouTube or TV, and instead I've been spending a lot of time with family and reading books. I love to read. I'm an avid reader, and the past couple years I have not read as much as I like to, because at night I would crawl in the bed and, you know, catch up on my favorite YouTubers and stuff, and I kind of got out of doing that. And one of the reasons was I started seeing, you know, a lot of these big channels that I have watched for years talking about shadow bans, algorithm changes. They were taking breaks, and so, like, you know, I would love to catch up with certain people, you know, in the evening that would post often. They would post either daily or like every other day, and all of a sudden they weren't there at all. And they said they were taking breaks, and, you know, there was cliques and politics going on and things that I was starting to notice in channels. And I kind of used that as an excuse to disappear myself. Like, at first I was hard on myself and had a lot of guilt because I had tried so hard not to overwhelm myself and start out like the year with the pantry challenge doing daily stuff. And I was like, no, because I know I can't keep that up once garden season starts. So I was like, I'm just going to stick to twice a week and do like Sundays and Thursdays and let that be it. So, and then all of a sudden I missed a Thursday, and then I missed another week. And then, you know, the next thing I know, it had been a couple weeks, and then it was just hard to get back in that groove. And so I had a lot of guilt about that, because, you know, I was like trying not to be overwhelmed and stay consistent, and then I couldn't even do that. But then I kind of used everybody else taking a break and stuff as an excuse. Like, okay, well, nobody watches me. I've only got, you know, a couple hundred members. They're not going to miss me, you know, if these people can do it. And that's not true, because you guys, you know, follow me in my journey, and I appreciate it, because I'm not getting paid for this. So I don't, you know, I do this for the love of doing it, but I kind of used it as an excuse of nobody's going to miss me. But I do miss it. So, because I started with the intention of tracking my own progress. And when I don't do that, then I don't track myself. I hope that makes sense. Like, I can't use how many followers or the fact that I'm not monetized or anything as an excuse, when the whole reason I started doing this was as a video diary. So anyway, the one thing I did do in my absence over the past couple months is something that my sister and I have talked about for years, and we've talked about doing a podcast together, because we can never get together and, you know, have our makeup on and, you know, the house clean enough, or, you know, like, YouTube just doesn't really work. Like, if we could just get together on this gorgeous porch with this great background, you know, every month, then that would be great, but neither one of us have this beautiful house. So we've talked about doing a podcast, because we get together and we just start talking about the most random things, and you know, next thing you know, we're in giggle fits and we're delirious, and you know, we're kind of funny, or we think we're funny. So we decided to try that, and we did, and it morphed from talking into, you know, just like fun combos about our goals and our dreams and what we want to do with our farms, into deep dives into subjects that we had to research and had major impact on our own lives. And so I kind of fell in love with sharing again. And I also found out that I love that format, which I've done a couple this chair rocks, so I keep like wanting to lean back so I don't hit the table, but I love that format. And I've done a few episodes on the YouTube channel before where I just sat and talked to you, and I loved those. And I think there's a lack of pressure in that, because I don't have to say, oh, I've got to go out and work in the garden. Oh, I need to set up cameras and I need to get the right angle. And then by the time I do that, or make sure that I have batteries, or, you know, use my phone, and then I can't use my phone for music. Like, it kind of takes the joy out of working in the garden for me, because one of the things I love about working in the garden is I can put on whatever I want. I can put on my music. I can put on a podcast. I can put on another YouTube channel, and I can just do my thing and listen. But if I'm recording myself doing the work and having to go through all those motions of set up angles and this, that, and the other, like, it doesn't work for me. And I know that's one thing a lot of the people talk about, like Garden Answer. They are amazing about having multiple angles and all this equipment, and you know, they've gotten it down pat where they've set up doing the work, and there's more than just themselves to do that. It's just me, and I have to get all this work done and film it and then edit it. And it was just, that's a lot of pressure, even if it's just, you know, for a journey for myself, because I don't want to put out, you know, as a photographer and a visual artist, I don't want to put out just crap. Like, that's just not me. So with the podcasting, we could just sit down on a rainy day, and it didn't matter if the kitchen was clean, or if, you know, the garden had weeds in it, or, you know, if I had dirt on my face and no makeup, or I hadn't had a shower. Like, we can just talk and nobody was seeing us. And I really enjoyed it, because I could go get my stuff done, and then when we had time, we could just sit down and talk and chat and enjoy coffee and these conversations and the research. And so I kind of fell in love with that. So I'm thinking that may have changed some things for me. But I want to introduce you to my podcast, and that it's called the, let me get my notes here, because I wrote down some of the discussions on there, but it's called The Dirty Old Hose. And it's, you know, hoses and gardening. It is a play on words. So it's not an OnlyFans or anything like that. Don't get the wrong idea. It is very much about farming and gardening and agriculture, and the things that affect us and our food and things like that. So like this week's podcast that just released was a discussion on our chemicals in food. And, you know, we've done one on the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 foods, victory gardens, prepping, self-sustainability. It's topics that are raw and real and vulnerable, with our crazy sister humor thrown in there. So, you know, lots of little, you know, fun giggle fests, you know, when we get on a tangent. But one of the things that I want to do with that is provide more information for the listeners and for my viewers here. So I'm going to work on doing some infographics on the information that we have covered, to make it very simple for you to take that information that we have researched and is changing our lives and changing how we're viewing our gardening and our farm life and things like that, and putting it out there for you to download, to make it simple for you, so you're not having to sit here and take notes if it's a subject that interests you. And I don't know, we're talking about maybe getting a website that corresponds with our YouTube, or I mean our podcast, or maybe we will find a way to put the podcasts on YouTube themselves, because we're not video recording them, we're only voice recording them. My sister is a musician, and so she has recording music or recording equipment but it's not video recording equipment. Like, you know, I'm a photographer, so I have that, but we haven't been doing that. So I don't know, we may do something like, I may go out and film the farm, and you know, you are able to watch the cows in the field while listening to us, so that it can go on a YouTube format, something like that. We're toying around with that. And we also may set up a website simply for a place for all the information that we've gathered, you know, links to sources or infographics or lists or things that we've done. I'm going to try to make them available here for right now. I'm working on a website for my own farm, so maybe I can put them on there for now. I don't know. There's a lot going on as far as my farm and business, as well as her farm and business, because of what we're trying to do and where we're trying to grow. And that, of course, comes first, because that is our income. That is our family. That is our farms. So, you know, I would like to say YouTube is a source of income for me, and so I could focus on it, but it's not. I'm not there. I don't know when I'll be there. I don't know what the parameters are. I don't know what the algorithms are. It's not something I have focused on as a job or a business, because that's just not where my heart was. And maybe in the future, what I should do is, even though I want to do this to record where I'm at and my journey, is do it in a way that makes it simple for me. And I'm thinking, like, instead of trying to record what I'm doing out in the garden, because that is always where I fail. In spring and summer, YouTube gets pushed to the wayside because I'm always out in the garden doing work, and I don't want to set up the cameras and stuff. Is maybe take some dedicated time once a week to do a garden tour, and then that way I can show what I've done and where I'm at. And then, you know, have discussions like this about things that are going on in my world every now and then maybe some recipes, because that's the one thing that is the easiest thing for me to record, and that is in the kitchen. It's a very easy setup for me, and so I can do that one relatively easy, but I didn't want to turn it into a cooking channel, but maybe I do. Once I get, hey baby doll, my friend has two gorgeous German Shepherds. They're out here with me. One just brought me a ball. Amazing. Hey, pretty girl. So maybe I'll do a combination of that, but if I could do some dedicated film time and have these candid conversations, and maybe just video what I have done that week in the garden in a quick 30-minute or however long it takes me, but it's a dedicated time to do it one morning, then that might be a lot easier for me, and just that way I don't ever have to worry about trying to set up the camera while I'm working, because I know me, and that's just not going to work for me. That just doesn't. So we've got a lot of things going on, and I'm trying to refigure out where to focus my time, because I have been very much present with my family, with my kids, with my house, with, you know, my garden and stuff. Like, I'm way behind. It's a weedy mess with the 6 inches of rain, and I'm late getting things from the greenhouse into it because I've been focused on market, because my leg does hurt, and getting out in the garden where the ground is uneven has been very difficult for me. But we've had a lot going on with other things, and you know, things that are just going on in the house, and, you know, working with the freeze dryer, and working with our new bunnies. We have bunnies now. Like, there's a lot going on, and so I need to figure out a way to put it all together and not overwhelm myself and handle it. So for now, I would like to focus on conversations like this. And then once we are at the end of the spring garden season, so I'm harvesting broccoli. My cabbages are not ready. My onions and garlic are not ready, but it's time to feed them and then just let them go until June or whatever. But all the tomato plants and the cucumbers and things like that are going in. So I don't have a ton to harvest right now. So I don't think it's time to do garden, hey baby, tours at this point, but maybe once I get the weeds under control and hit mid-June, we might get there. And 2, I am hitting my busiest time on my schedule this year, because as a photographer, this is like the only week I have anything going on, and I have 2 weddings and a dance studio with their recital, plus my daughter is in recital, and she's on competition team this year, so she is performing in all 6 recitals. So there is a lot going on over the next week, and so this was like a perfect opportunity while I was here to update everyone and kind of pull my head around the direction and some things that I may be able to confidently handle and things that I'm enjoying. So I'm going to update, if you've made it this far, thank you. I'm going to update the description box with a place to get hopefully these infographics that I'm going to do that will relate to the podcast. I'm going to give you the link to the podcast and go over and give it a listen, because the chemicals in our food is a super important one to us, and I'm really happy with, you know, that we got it out there. And go back and listen to some of the older ones, but we post every Wednesday. I think we've missed one Wednesday, which Lord knows I haven't been the one in charge of that. My sister's the one that's been editing and on top of it, so she's been great about getting those out. I think she missed last week, but she had like sick people in the family. So every Wednesday morning, the podcast release on multiple streams. I know I play it on Amazon through my Alexa. I believe we're on iHeartRadio maybe, but we're on a bunch of them. So if you can't find us, let me know. You can send me a message here and we'll try to get you a source, but I will put a link to the one where she uploads them to, and that will get you started. And then I will try to figure out a way to put links to the infographics. I'm not sure if it'll be through like Google Documents or how I'm going to do that, but I will figure out a way to do that. And anyway, so this is my YouTube update, and I am hoping to kind of reconfigure some things to make it better on me so that I can continue to record my journey, but also share this information that has become so impactful to me that we are finding through the podcasts and is affecting how I do things on my own personal farm and now YouTube. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you really soon and not months from now when I record it. So we will talk to you soon. See you later.